Me too. Speak up, say something, do something. Make it against the law for law enforcement officers and public officials to deny and cover up sexual assault and rape reports. Los Angeles County has had over 7,000 rape kits that were not open. Make it a crime for the police department to suppress evidence, refuse evidence, and for them not to submit evidence for the rape reports to be open. In 2006, I was a victim of sexual assault and rape. The police refused and failed to take a report. I was given a rape kit that was never open. So that's why I'm pleading to the public to help me make it a crime for police officers and officials to refuse sexual crimes. Unfortunately, in 2019, it happened again, and the police refused to file the report. Let's change the law. Let's do this together. Covina Police Department refused sexual assault report. However, the person admitted it. They admitted to sexually assaulting me. They admitted to trying to force me to watch homosexual porn. And the person also had child pornography on their WhatsApp. The police department called me crazy. When I told them that I was an ex-law enforcement officer, they became irate. The police department harassed me for 30 days. Eventually, they falsely arrested me. The police told the accuser, when they arrested me, that they knew she was lying. She changed her story, but they arrested me again. Police conspired other false charges after I was arrested. The accuser retaliated because I filed a report with the police department for sexual assault, and I reported that she was watching child pornography. The accuser lied about a restraining order. She lied and said that I was served the restraining order. This was a non-move-out restraining order, which the courts in Pomona said that it was frivolous and there was no reason. The restraining order said things like I was really nice and really bubbly, which I am. Also, I have Facebook records and records from the accuser saying that I was really friendly, really nice, and I was sent by God to help her. Those reports were from August to December of 2018. I filed sexual assault charges against her December the 27th. Immediately after that, she went and got a restraining order, but I was never served. But it was a non-move-out restraining order. Because she was an older lady from my church, the police felt like because of her age, she did not need to be charged for sexual assault. Nobody should have the right to put their hands on anyone. Age, race, educational status, it does not matter. Nobody has the right to put their hands on you. After I reported her to the police department, she said she was afraid of me, which was not true, because I have records of her saying how nice I was to her and giving to her. Unfortunately, I was dealing with some other issues of people breaking into my apartment and someone pulled a gun on me at Starbucks. I was not able to ascertain everything that was going on. I was financially abused by this person. I was mentally abused by her. And she wanted an inappropriate relationship. I reported it to the church. The church never stepped in. 2. The public defenders refused to defend my case. The public defender, he flirted with me. He was very inappropriate with me. He asked me to draft my own pitches motion, which I have an exhibit that I can show, because I emailed him the pitches motion that I researched and draft within 24 hours, and he filed it. I was there when he filed it. The public defender told me for 4 months that he was going to show my evidence that the police lied, because I recorded the police telling the lady that she was lying. I recorded the lady changing her story, and I recorded the police conspiring to put false charges on me. I also recorded the police lying and harassing me and calling me crazy and mentally ill. So the police knew that I had this evidence, and when they falsely arrested me, they destroyed that evidence. However, my laptop was recording, so I was able to retain that evidence. The public defender just delayed for a very long time to do what he was supposed to do. And when I went to court, come to find out, another public defender was there, and that public defender told me that he had no intentions on submitting my exculpatory evidence to get this case dismissed so I can move on with my life. At that point, I reported him to the 2 supervisors who did not care. And on August the 21st, I said that I was going to report them to the state bar. The very next day, August the 22nd, they asked the judge to detain me for a mental health evaluation, and I was jailed for a mental health evaluation. The statements that they made to the judge, the public defender said I was delusional for saying that I was ex-law enforcement. I was delusional because I said I had a legal firm, LDA firm. I was delusional because I said I was preparing to go to medical school. I was called crazy and mentally ill for those statements. I told the judge to please look at the Department of Florida for my reference, to look at the state of California for my reference. The judge said, I'm not looking anything up, I'm not Googling you, I'm not checking anything out. The judge herself said I was also crazy, but then she complimented my looks. I tried to submit proof to her, she refused. She turned around and said that I was always late for court. However, thank you Google, because Google location will show that I actually showed up at 8:03. Court starts at 9 o'clock. The doors open at 8:30. The judge said that I was too mentally ill to show up for court. That's interesting. Her name is Judge Susan Townsend, West Covina, Department 9. She then made statements like, she then made statements that I had a prior contempt of court. I said, Your Honor, I don't have a prior contempt of court. I don't have a record. I have never been in trouble. She said, well, you have a possible prior. She looked at the district attorney and she said, I want Ms. Robinson remanded for a mental health evaluation. The district attorney said, Your Honor, it's very unusual because she doesn't have a record. I don't think she should be remanded. But whatever you say. So the judge then said, well, we're going to have her remanded. I would like everybody to know I am being charged with a misdemeanor contempt of court, which does not warrant any type of arrest, especially when it comes to a mental health evaluation. It is an outpatient service. However, it is very disrespectful. As a black woman in 2019, I am sitting in front of a courtroom and I'm told that I'm crazy because of my educational status. It is also very disrespectful for the police to harass me because they thought that I was lying about my former background in law enforcement. The public defender asked the judge for my car, the keys to my Porsche. She made statements saying, oh, she's crazy, she's homeless. Being homeless is not a precursor for a crime or to be incarcerated. They also made statements saying she's crazy. She claims she has an office and looked out of the window. However, I looked out of the window because the public defender's office is right across the street from my office within the same proximity. So they made statements and said I was crazy that I had an office in the area. That's interesting. The public defender made a statement and said that I spoke with the police and I filed a complaint with the police and said that I had evidence, and she said there was no evidence. Mind you now, the police arrested me and erased that evidence. However, I was able to retain that evidence. She said that she spoke with the detective on the case, and I complained against the detective on the case about imaginary video. However, she took the keys to my Porsche, and the two bailiffs that was in the courtroom, they shook their head because they said they've never seen anything so disrespectful. I was locked up, and then the two bailiffs came back to me and said that she wanted my cell phones. Well, while I was incarcerated, August the 22nd, August the 23rd, August the 24th, and I was released on August the 25th, my cell phones were deleted. Google Voice tracked every single thing that I did. I'm sorry, it wasn't Google Voice, it was Google Location. And I had asked Google to track my activity on my phone. And it would show you the times that I was incarcerated, that my phone was connected to a computer, my apps were crashed, and everything was deleted. That's interesting. They're trying to get rid of evidence and throw me under the bus or throw me in jail. But thanks be to God, that evidence was saved because I put it on the cloud. I have now built a website called www.publicinterestcourt.com, publicinterestcourt.com. Please go there. You will see the videos of what the police have been trying to hide. Moving forward, while I was incarcerated, they did call the state of Florida, found out that I am ex-law enforcement, and put me in a special location for my protection. While I was in that special location, there was a young lady there in the same pod I was in. She was there for beating up a cop. That's interesting. I was denied. I was not allowed phone calls. I was denied showers, medical complaint forms, toothbrush, blankets. And they kept yelling at me saying, don't think you're going to get special treatment because you're ex-law enforcement officer. I remember shaking and shaking. I shook so much because I was cold and I didn't have proper beddings that my muscles began to jump and flinch. I asked them several times for me to go to a doctor. They refused. I humbled myself. And I came to them again and said, I know you're doing your job, but I really need to go to the doctor. My chest is pinching. My chest was pinching. Then they said to me that I was released. I knew that I was already bailed out, but they held me longer than they should. The last thing, I went to the mental health court. Come to find out, they never sent the case over there. So that means that I would have went before Department Harrison, I would have went before Judge Harrison, Robert Harrison, and they would have found out my case wasn't sent there, and I would have been sent back to the jail for a month or so until my case got there. Also, the judge wrote up that I was in contempt of court, but told me she was incarcerating me for a mental health evaluation. I called the clerk in Department 9. She refused to send the files over to the mental health court. I spoke with the public defender for the mental health court. I filed an ex parte motion that day. It was never heard. He said he just wanted to keep me out of jail. Ex partes are very long and very frustrating. My point is, you cannot lock someone up because you feel like it and you want to cover up evidence and give them a mental health evaluation. I was a mental health case manager. I have my mental health national provider information number. It is not a crime to be mentally ill. What it is a crime is to lock someone up for public corruption. So I need everyone to join me with my petition, because together we are changing the law when it comes to how police officers respond to women and men and children, how police officers respond to anyone who files a sexual assault or sexual harassment report. We need this law change. It needs to be mandated, compulsory, and it needs to be against the law for them to refuse. This fight is not about me. This fight is about everyone who has went through what I went through when it comes to public corruption. Thank you very much for listening to me. Please go to www.publicinterestcourts.com.